back to Good Evening KU News. I'm Patrick Sullivan, and I'm here with Taylor Thomas.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How's your day been so far?
You know, studying,
Yeah.
getting stuff done,
I know.
working on school.
This week has been so jam-packed with so many projects and papers for me. Luckily, I only have tests in my bio class, and then a test in my journalism 300 class, which
Both
is
next
crazy.
Monday, right?
Yep, both next Monday.
It's just that time of year. It's just that time of year.
I know.
It's the last few weeks, and then start studying for finals.
I know. They're jamming it all in there as quick as possible, which is a little stressful, you know,
Yeah.
but I'm happy being a journalism major because I have more papers and projects than I have
Rather
tests.
than
so
tests.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. For
I know.
finals, I've only got 2 really real tests,
Really?
and other than that, it's just
Yeah.
projects and stuff, which
Yeah.
is a lot less stressful,
I agree.
I think. But
And our J300 final we can already start working on now, so you can really
Yeah, there
space
you
it
go.
out
Yeah.
instead of having to think about it all in one day. So yeah, we also just finished our project.
we did just finish our project for J210.
Yes,
It was our
we're
third
in
one.
literally every class together. So,
I think we're going to try and show you guys
yeah,
right here.
Yeah.
Get some
And
constructive criticism.
this is how you drive a car in case you were in college and didn't know how to do that. Yeah, this is you, Sully, in your house.
Yeah, you know, looking pretty good. Just walking around doing my thing.
And you actually were super sick during this
Yeah,
time.
I was very sick.
With, what was it?
Strep throat.
Strep?
Yeah, it was strep throat.
And
it
a
was,
fever.
It was no fun. It was no
As
fun.
you'll see soon.
Yeah.
You were a little toasty.
Oh, yeah.
Take your clothes off.
Funny part about this, I didn't plan on doing this, but sitting in that car, I was getting really hot. So I had to take it off. And I wasn't just going to have a costume change right in the middle.
Right.
So, you know,
Also,
that's my ritual every time.
yeah.
Gotta do that every time.
The weather's so nice right now.
It's getting chilly right now, but today was beautiful.
Yeah. Also, being from Chicago, it's never this temperature.
I was in Chicago last year for Halloween.
Yeah.
And it was
probably
freezing.
snowing.
It was
Yeah.
freezing. Yeah.
I believe it, absolutely. So that was our beautiful film.
Hope you
We
guys
put our
enjoyed it. Hope you learned how to drive a car.
Pride and joy into it. Also, what problems do you think we had with that?
You know, I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah,
that's
of
just
course.
me.
Well, yeah.
We'll have to leave that up for Cal to decide what problems came in that video. But, you know, I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, I know. I think it went really well. My favorite
Just
part
learn
of
along
it-
the way. You just learn
Right,
along the way.
absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Well, it was throwing in different camera angles in there. I think that was like
Yeah.
super cool.
Very cool.
I think we worked on it well together.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing. So what do you have going on this week? You have a test right after this.
I have a test I'm leaving about 15 minutes for. So,
That's so stressful.
go. I'm
Hopefully
excited.
you're prepared enough for it.
It's
Yeah.
basically what my whole week's been
There you
going
go.
up for this
And
test.
then your reward is?
No class, Thursday or Friday. They both got canceled.
That is so exciting
yeah.
for you.
How about your week?
Well, my week's been super busy. I decided to just put everything off and go to my first KU basketball game last night ever in my whole life.
First game?
Yeah, I know, it's embarrassing.
How long have you been here?
Just like a year and a half.
Year and a half, okay,
Yeah, not that long.
About that time. Gotcha.
Gotta get situated first. and
I haven't
then,
been to a
you know.
game yet, so you beat me.
This year?
Yeah, not this year.
Okay,
not this
good.
year.
I was like, you have definitely
We
been
got
to
our
a game.
first regular season game Friday?
Yep, on Friday. People are already camping out. I'm in a group, except I don't know how to camp at all, and that
Chicago
is
girl.
so overwhelming.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, but I mean, it was the coolest thing ever. And their video that they play beforehand, what is that called?
Just their pump-up video?
Yeah,
or
it's so
goosebumps
cool.
every time.
It's so cool.
Goosebumps
I
every
wonder if
time.
it's the same one as last year, but this year
They
it is
probably
like
just add in like little clips of
maybe.
new players.
It's black and white. Part of it is like black and white, and they're like
James
jumping
Naismith.
around. Yeah,
Oh,
they're so cool.
So cool.
It was like I had goosebumps. It was the best part of the whole game. Other than that, we had a huge lead the entire time, so that was so fun.
That's what we try and do.
Yeah,
That's what we try and do.
I know. It was exciting.
I think that's all we got. Next up, we've got Bella Without Borders.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Borders. Today I have a very special guest, Pahls here, and we're going to switch up the pace a little bit, and we're going to just see, how things go. He's a very political, motivated, and active student here on campus. So to kind of tie in with my segment and a little bit that's going on in our modern day, I kind of want to talk about, women's opportunities. So.
Yes.
We often see, in these Western societies that we live in, and we look at the East and we think, we look at a very strict Muslim male-dominated society, and
Right.
we think, and that lack women's rights and take away from them. However, at the same time, you look at the Western society that we live in, and we have this, this vision of women's equality, yet it seems like we're trying to retract those rights from women. So I guess if we could kind of to jump into it, talk a little bit about Planned Parenthood. So it seems that, why would people want to defund something like Planned Parenthood, which is, helps over 5 million men and women, worldwide?
Sure.
And so what is your stance kind of on that?
Sure. Well, first of all, glad to be here. Second of all, I totally understand your point. However, I always try to refrain from comparing Eastern countries to ours in terms of women's rights, or whether it's religious rights or social issues, only because of how vastly different there are in terms of, we've learned from several recent cases, or from Boko Haram even, that women can't even be educated in some of those countries. And so we do have work to do here, but I hesitate comparing Planned Parenthood to those situations. In regards to Planned Parenthood, I'm a Republican, I'm pro-life. But that's not why I don't think Planned Parenthood should be funded. My point on Planned Parenthood is there are many women's health facilities across the country. Some provide abortions, some don't. That's not the point. I don't understand why Planned Parenthood is funded over any of those other ones. I don't understand why any organization of that sort receives government funding. I'm not saying that's not a comment on insurance, that's not a comment on even abortion, but on this specific instance.
So, however, though, I kind of want to bring up that, public funding is not meant for abortions and things like
Sure.
that. So something like Planned Parenthood is, like I said, not just used for abortion.
Sure.
They're used for exams, for, testing, for STDs, STIs, things like that, contraception. So why in total would that be something to focus on, to take that away? Like, why would someone or, whoever want to retract those rights from women?
Sure. Well, again, it's not about getting rid of the rights. My question is, why Planned Parenthood? And that gets to, I think, the heart of the issue itself, which is we're funding this organization, but we don't know why. And you're right, the Hyde Amendment prevents any of that money from going to abortions. Having said that, I go back to my original point of there are many, I'm from a small town, Beloit, Kansas. We have the Heart Choices Pregnancy Center, and they don't receive government funding. And so I'm wondering why they don't receive government funding, but this one does. And that's where we get into the larger issue outside of just Planned Parenthood, which is, should the government pick the winners and the losers, or should the government have this company that they want to fund, but not this company? And I'm maybe a purist on this point, but I think when it comes to private business, which Planned Parenthood is, they're nonprofit, but when it comes to private entities, the government should not have a role in those.
Okay. I guess to drag us back, into it, so something like Planned Parenthood that may be similar or different than other things, it's more accessible to, people who are, impoverished, and they don't have, the access or the ability to, use those facilities for contraceptives or STI and
Sure.
STD testing. And they have, scholarships help. So why, I guess my question is, if you could see the difference between the two, what do you do for people who don't have the access or don't have the funds and can't afford private companies? How would you suggest people to go about it?
Well, Planned Parenthood is a private company.
Right.
There are many private companies around the country who do that work from their nonprofit based off of their contingency funds. And so Planned Parenthood is one of those, as well as many others. So again, that goes into a further issue of healthcare, health insurance. But in terms of the question of funding, it still doesn't make sense to me why
Right.
they're funded over others.
I guess we could jump in since you mentioned healthcare, and
Yeah.
women's healthcare is very, very important. I think that everybody could attest to.
Of course.
So I guess, you know, in America we have, you know, why would you try and take from women's health care? Because something like Planned Parenthood is something that, you know, is a very, you know, big part of women's health care. Or why would you, or we could even jump into something like maternity leave. You know, how come women don't have, you know, working people can't have, you know, paid maternity leave? What was your comment on that?
So on maternity leave, I think that's a great point. I believe businesses should require maternity leave. Having said that, I don't believe it is the government's role, much like in the Planned Parenthood instance, and this will, just about any topic we talk about, especially when it comes to the private sector, that'll be the case. I don't think it's the government's role to require planned maternity leave. I believe in a society with free markets, you should be able to see what companies provide maternity leave and what companies don't provide maternity leave, and I think that should influence the consumer on maybe what company they want to support. But I don't believe it is the government's right to go in and require that, because as we've seen in other instances, whether it's, let me give you an example of here at KU. When healthcare legislation was passed, that is well-intended legislation, trust me. We've seen the effect for student workers here. Student workers can now only work 20 hours where they used to be able to work 30 or 40 or over 30 hours.
Right.
They can only now work 20 hours.
Right.
And that's because, and I'm not going on one of those like thanks Obama rants right now, but I'm just saying that is a side effect of the law that we did not anticipate, that is having real costs on students like myself, perhaps yourself, and many other students that I know here on campus who need to make that money. Oftentimes, the government has the best of intentions going into these types of situations, but it doesn't work that way. Oftentimes what we find that works is when you use those free market solutions and say, this business does not provide their women maternity leave. That should say something to consumers.
So do you believe that, you know, these businesses will truly do those things? If the government isn't forcing, you know, those types of things, how could we rely on that?
And they won't necessarily do it. And again, that's why I say turn to the consumer.
Right.
And also, that's when you look and say, those companies might have a hard time hiring workers now.
Right.
And they should, in my opinion, as a private citizen, they should stand the consequences when it comes to people not using their stores anymore. I would love for some independent nonprofit or whatever to go through every corporation and say, these are the ones that don't provide maternity leave. But I don't believe maternity leave is something that should be required by the government, because as I said, it typically doesn't work out as, I mean, you know, there are a lot of issues that I would say if the government could stop this or start this or do this, I'd be all behind it. But as we've seen before, when it goes into the bureaucracy, it typically doesn't work out exactly like we'd hoped, which is unfortunate.
Well, so if we, I guess looking at it from kind of like a broader issue, we have these sort of issues, but I think they all derive from these sort of social issues that we have. So would you agree that, or disagree, you know, kind of are these social issues, you know, making it like a bigger problems and they're, you know, the foundation for our larger problems that we have?
Certainly on Planned Parenthood, a lot of it goes back to, now I come from it a little bit different of an angle than a lot of Republicans. As I said, I'm pro-life, but that's not what forces my opinion on Planned Parenthood. Mine is the picking one over another.
Right.
There are certainly a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats who support or don't support Planned Parenthood funding because of their social views. Maternity leave, that one is less about social views, because you think of it as a pro-life person, you know, you'd think, you know, want as much maternity leave as possible, which is what I do want, just not forced. So that one's a little less. I think the social issues are maybe more about government role.
Okay. One last thing, we're almost out of time. If you could explain to us why you're pro-life and not pro-choice.
I mean, that's
a
we're almost out of, I was going to say, if we're almost out of time, we might run out of time on this one. I'm not one of those people that shies away from it's my faith. Having said that, that's not the sole reason why. First of all, I'll borrow a line from a candidate who's running for president today, which is science tends to prove the pro-life movement right. A lot of people say Republicans are anti-science, which again, that's a debate that I had last weekend that went on for like an hour. Science proves the pro-life cause right every day. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you one way or another, because that's not going to happen. So what I've resorted to when I am discussing abortion with people is this. I'm not going to try to convince you one way or another, but I want people to know where I come from, just like you would want people to know where you come from. I don't believe people who are pro-choice want to kill babies. Just like I expect people who are pro-choice to not believe that I'm pro-life because like I have some 15th century view of women that they should be, you know, left at home. I think if we can get past those illusions of the other side, I think we can find common ground on this issue. There was a recent poll that came out, I think it was Quinnipiac, I can't remember the polling firm, that said 80% of Americans believe after the sixth term, or after the 6th month, abortion should not be legal for any reason. There are other studies that show common ground on the issue, not in totality, but on parts of the issue.
Right.
I think those are the things we need to focus on, but first, we have to focus on that first part about where we're coming from. Okay. I'm not pro-life because I hate women, just like the pro-choice movement is not pro-choice because they have some vendetta against children.
Right.
I think if we can get past that, we can have the discussion.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Happy
I
to be
hope
here.
that we could talk again about, some future issues that may come up.
Of course.
Next up, we'll have the news.
Hi, I'm Charlie Sides.
And I'm Burkett Thompson. This is your Good Evening KU News Update. KU held a town hall meeting, and as we speak, it is still going on upstairs in the KU Union. Had an open dialogue on race, respect, responsibility, and free speech. Recent events at the University of Missouri and Yale University sparked the idea for the meeting. Chancellor Bernadette Gray Little moderated at the meeting.
New York's Attorney General just pulled the plug on one of the most popular sports games. The fantasy football leagues, DraftKings and FanDuel were shut down in the state of New York. Up until now, sites like these have been exempt under the federal law against online sports gambling. But after further investigation, New York State decided to pull the plug on companies, saying it is a multi-billion-dollar scheme.
Everyone check your credit card statements. Yesterday, 3 men were part of the largest U.S. bank data breach. Private information is said to be stolen from 100 million customers at JP Morgan, Fidelity, and 100 other companies. The hackers have apparently been laundering the money through dozens of shell companies and bank accounts under fake names.
SeaWorld announced this week that next year it will end the theatrical orca shows that take place at its theme park in San Diego. Following declining attendance and protests about the treatment of the whales, SeaWorld CEO Joel Manby made the decision to implement these changes. After listening to requests to show the whales in a more natural state, SeaWorld will get rid of the Californian theatrical show instead start a new orca experience.
The men's basketball team wrapped up its exhibition this season with a 95-59 victory over Fort Hays State last night in Allen Fieldhouse. The Jayhawks will open with the regular season on Friday against UNC in Allen Fieldhouse. Calm down, it is the University of North Colorado, and tip-off is at 7 p.m.
You don't have to wait until Friday night for some Jayhawk excitement. The volleyball team gets its rematch against Texas in the Horse Family Athletics Center. KU is 22-1 with that lone loss coming to the Longhorns last month in Austin. The game is already sold out, but if you have tickets, you can expect an enthusiastic, rowdy crowd. The match starts at 6:30.
And that will wrap it up for today's news update. Stay tuned after the break. Geku will be here with the weather forecast.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Good evening, KU. Well, if you're outside right now, it's feeling pretty cool for you. The sun is starting to go down, have some pretty strong winds out, around 30 miles an hour. Fortunately, these strong winds are the worst weather we're going to get tonight, as opposed to central Missouri, southern Iowa, where they're actually getting quite a bit of severe weather right now. Strong winds, very large hail, and actually a few tornadoes have been reported. Fortunately, this calm weather for us is going to continue on to tonight. Tonight looking at 47 degrees before things warm back up tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to look at 61 degrees. Still going to have that wind, not as strong fortunately, but it'll still be there, so you want to keep an eye out for that as you're walking to class tomorrow. And then as we move on to our week, looking at 61 degrees tomorrow, 59 Friday, 66 Saturday is going to warm up a bit. And then as we move forward onto our week, might actually have a little bit of rain over the weekend Looks like our greatest chances should be Monday, so keep an eye out for that as time goes on. That's going to do it for our weather today. Thank you for watching, and after this, we have Paige and Taylor with the sports.
Welcome back. I'm Taylor Thomas here with Paige, and we are here doing our new segment called News Flash. So what this is we are going to give clues to Tyler, who is standing on a green screen, and he does not know what is going to come up behind him, but we do. So we are going to give him a couple clues and see if he can guess what's going on. So let's begin right now.
Take it away.
Okay, so Tyler, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling all right, a little moderate. I was under the weather a couple days ago. Why?
Well, I
would be terrified if I was in your situation.
Yep, a little cold.
I'm cold.
Yeah, you're a little bit cold.
I'm a little cold. I mean, it hasn't been too bad. Like, they could turn the AC up in here.
Or the heat up in there?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, we need a little more heat.
Yeah, so are you feeling a little fishy? Are you
seems
kind of
fishy about this.
scared?
No, I haven't been underwater for like a couple weeks now. I don't know.
I don't know if that one's true, but
It's not, well, I mean, it's not like bad in here, if I was like swimming around, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
And what are you doing? What are you doing there?
I was swimming because you said that I may or may not be underwater, so.
How are you so good at holding your breath for this long?
Oxygen tank.
Oh.
So yeah, it's on this microphone I'm speaking into.
Right.
Some of those new things.
Right. So,
Yeah.
can you touch the ground? Are you feeling like you're floating around a little, or?
No.
Are you friends with anyone around you
Are
right
you,
now?
are you
My
just scared?
friends? Yeah, I got my friends right here. We're just hanging out, me and the boys. You know what I'm saying? Right here.
It does not look like it's going well.
No, they don't
No,
like
it does
me?
not. Nope, it does.
no.
Your friends are gone. They're actually, yep.
What?
I don't think they make it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Were my friends underwater with me then?
No.
I was a scuba diver.
No.
No?
I don't.
You're still swimming around right now.
It's still pretty
You're close
cold.
to very big people, things.
You look kind of hungry right now. Kind of hangry.
Mammals.
Maybe.
They're really
I
scary.
don't think they have.
It's gonna take more than a Snickers bar.
Are you
Oh.
scared right now?
Not entirely. I think if I was scared, I don't know.
Do you believe if punching them works?
Punching?
Yeah.
Should I try?
Do you think that will scare them away?
I don't know. I don't. Is there something around me?
Yeah. There's a lot of things around
Okay,
you.
should I scare them away then?
Yes.
It's kind of cold in here though. I mean, I now that I'm underwater and it's cold and I have like sea monsters surrounding me, I wouldn't,
Right over your shoulder. Back.
Right up?
Back.
Should I swat 'em?
Yep. Yeah.
Swat
Punch.
'em?
Back
Right there.
punch.
Okay, it's like Wii Sports.
Right
You gotta
towards
do it
you.
as they-
Oh.
Whoop. Do they go away?
Almost. It's going the
Yeah.
other direction.
I'm not.
Do you know where you are?
I'm not feeling too comfortable anymore.
Do you think you know where you are?
I'm in an ocean.
What's going on
Anything
around you? Yes, you're
There's fish attacking me.
correct. What type of fish? Little fish or?
Sharks. I'm getting eaten by a shark.
There
Yeah,
you go.
Got it.
And that is all we have for today. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at KU at Meteor Crossroads.
And we'll see you tomorrow for Good Morning KU at 10.